मैं यहाँ पर एक चीज़ आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहती हूँ। आज एक सवाल मैंने उनके साथ करना है जिसके बारे में, वो है फर्स्ट पास्ट द पोस्ट का एक सवाल करूँगी और मैं इसको आपको डिटेल में शेयर करूँगी कि कनाडा में जब लोग वोट करते हैं तो हम एक बंदे का इंतखाब करते हैं, जितने पोलिंग स्टेशंस होते हैं वहाँ से रिज़ल्ट आता है। और बहुत से लोगों का ये 2011-2015 में लिबरल पार्टी जो थी जब उसने विन किया तो आप सोचिए 39% के साथ कंजर्वेटिव ने भी एक बार कम वोट हासिल करके, यानी 39% अगर वोट एक पार्टी लेती है और वो पोजीशन में आ जाती है, वेयर एज बाकी वोट बाकी पार्टीज़ में जाती हैं मगर उन लोगों को वो लोग हार जाते हैं। तो ये प्रोसेस जो है, जो डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्रीज़ की बात करते हैं ख़ास तौर पे, तो वहाँ पर ये सिस्टम को इतना मुनासिब नहीं समझा जाता। उस पर फर्स्ट चॉइस, सेकंड चॉइस एंड थर्ड चॉइस आ जाती है। यानी कनाडा के सिस्टम में या तो हम वोट डालते हैं, बंदा चाहे हमें पसंद हो या ना हो, मगर हम एक पार्टी को वोट डालते हैं, एक शख्स को वोट डालते हैं। इसके बारे में हम इसके बाद बात करेंगे। I thank very much Federal Green Party leader Elizabeth May is here with me. Elizabeth May, first of all, I thank you very much for being with us, for your time and connecting with the community. Thanks a lot. Welcome to Eawaz. This is Arifa Muzaffar. How are you, Elizabeth?
I'm well, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak with you as well. Thank you for having me.
I definitely thank you in your busy schedule and looking after all these things, and I believe you are a very strong person, and people believe in you since you founded the company. You are leader of the company, and I definitely want to congratulate you that you won your seat even this time again. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm very grateful to the voters of Saanich Gulf Islands, the area of Canada I represent in Parliament, for giving me this huge honor to continue to be their voice in Parliament.
Thank you. Yes, but they definitely count on you. Let me ask you one question. I believe when there was a debate, we were all looking forward to listen to your party as well, but we could not. I don't think so. Should we touch that subject or not? Would you mind to say something?
I'm absolutely grateful to say something. This is the first time, and to all of your listeners, it's, I think, a shocking thing. This was the first time in the history of Canadian democracy since we invented the leaders' debates. It was in the 1960s when we had television and televised leaders' debates. There's never been a time where a political party with elected members of Parliament in the House of Commons where the leader was denied the opportunity to be in the leaders' debates. You can go back in history, and even in the early 1990s when Reform Party was just getting started, and they elected one MP in a by-election. Her name was Deb Gray. But that was enough for Preston Manning, as leader of the Reform Party, to be in the debates. That was the birth of the Reform Party, which eventually got big enough to take over and replace the Progressive Conservative Party. In other words, leaders' debates are a critical part of the citizens of Canada being able to know about what a party stands for, to decide how to vote, and for us to be removed the morning of the debate when we'd met all the rules. Here we were running over 200 candidates in every province of Canada, having two sitting members of Parliament in Parliament, and for us not to be in the debates when the Bloc Québécois, which I think the Bloc deserves to be in debates, they have sitting members of Parliament, but they had 78 candidates and only running in Quebec. I think a lot of Canadians were wondering how come the Greens have been kept out of the debates, and all I can say is that the decision was unfair and wrong, and I'm hoping we can get that we can never get justice, because justice is to have a time machine and go back and be able to have a campaign where my co-leader at the time, who's since resigned, but Jonathan Pedno, who was running in Quebec, and a strong young Quebecer with a great voice on social justice and all issues. He would have been great in those debates, but he was denied. We were denied as a party. I couldn't have been in the debates. He couldn't be in the debates. They just said no Greens in this debate, and they did it at the last minute and very unfairly.
Thank you very much for responding to this question. Of course, Jonathan Penal was very motivated and a wonderful man, and I believe it was such a heartbreaking thing that he resigned right after that. To win election or lose election, it is up to the constituents, but I believe this was one of the factor. A young man, very focused on his agenda. Did you, and I remember Jonathan that time, he said that he's going to take the Green Party is going to take it to the court. Did you do something or nothing at all?
No, we have filed a statement of claim for judicial review of the decision. It was really a decision of one person, the executive director of the Leaders Debate Commission. We hope to be able to pursue the matter in court. We are assessing whether we're in a financial position to take the case all the way to the Federal Court of Canada, which we need to do.
Thank you very much. And the justice system in this country is a wonderful system. I hope you will get the justice from there. Now, of course, your constituents, they counted on you, and you won the election. Are you are a founding member of the party. What are you planning to do to reorganize the party, and what are you planning to do for that?
Well, we're of course rebuilding already. We have more than 200 candidates who were wonderful candidates across the country, and of course, in the case of Mike Morris, who was running again as member of Parliament for Kitchener Centre, lost by very few votes. We hope that and other places where we were close, we need to make sure that we don't unravel the wonderful base of volunteers who are sad to lose, but they're already organizing in a minority parliament, such as Mr. Carney has a minority of the seats, more than any other party. So I think he will hold the confidence of the House and be Prime Minister for some time, but not likely for 4 whole years. So we could be in another federal election campaign within another 2 years. It's a minority parliament. And so we are asking all of those wonderful voters and volunteers and candidates to stay involved, keep doing community events. As an example, I'll be back and forth across the country, things like the Toronto Pride event and the Calgary Stampede, and back and forth, always meeting with our local Green volunteers to encourage people and to reach out to friends and neighbors and be ready for the next campaign.
Be ready for and I understand we have other questions to ask, but I would say you must approach to the South Asian community as well. Of course, in GTA, it's a visible minority at the moment. You must reach to those people as well. Now, of course, during the election campaign, you had a chance meeting with the people, and you are a very outgoing person. You listen to the people. You try to do whatever is within your capacity. What were the main concerns what you listened from the people?
Oh, I have to say, I mean, the concern that took over this election campaign was Canadian sovereignty and standing up to Donald Trump. And that's that came through loud and clear. But so too, the question of affordability, rents becoming increasingly high, housing prices out of reach, and even day-to-day matters like groceries. We're looking at a country that needs to confront Trump in a way that builds our own economy, protects our jobs, and helps our communities. So I heard that from all over the place, and also our healthcare system. Many concerns about having, moving faster to accredit doctors and nurses and other healthcare professionals who want to come to Canada. And again, combining with the Trump threat, we will probably have a lot of professionals from the United States who'd rather live in Canada than live under the kind of the horror of these immigration officials raiding churches and schools and deporting people without giving them due process or an attempt to defend their rights to avoid deportation. I think Canada needs, we do have hot debates on the subject of immigration, but we need, if we plan for new Canadians properly and we learn, and you mentioned the South Asian community, we have a lot to learn from the success of the South Asian community in Canada, the success all over the country. What do we learn from the community of new Canadians? To how many new Canadians do we want to welcome? Do we want to make it based on the skills that they bring? Do we want to say that they should come to Canada, but only if they're willing to live in one of the areas of our country that has suffered from depopulation? A lot of areas, I mean, I'm from the Maritimes originally. A lot of areas in the Maritimes have communities that have schools with empty desks. In the prairies, we have communities that could actually benefit from new people moving in, but we know in the GTA or the Vancouver or Montreal area, it's crowded and it's hard to imagine where new people can fit. So we need to actually plan ahead and learn from our successes and then learn more also from our failures. I'm very concerned, by the way. I think we applied a one-size-fits-all approach to international students. We have a lot of benefit from international students, and we shouldn't make it so hard for them to come to Canada to get an education. Meanwhile, we shouldn't be exploiting them by charging such high fees that our education system needs international students to be able to fund the programs for Canadian students. So there are a lot of, I heard so many concerns. I didn't hear anyone say Canada's broken or this isn't the best country in the world to live in. But I heard a lot of people say it is the best country in the world to live in, but we can improve things, and we've got to improve things.
Yes, you're right. I believe with the time when the more immigrants are coming, there are more problems. So we got to organize few things. One of my question is now in America, as you said earlier, about that there is today's news, there's a brain drain, and Canada might take an advantage. What happened in the Harvard University today, and most of the students, they would love to leave America and they would love to come to Canada. Do you want to say something about it?
Well, we would love to welcome. There are a lot of people right now who are living in the U.S. who want to be in Canada. Mm-hmm. This is a huge opportunity for our country. Mm-hmm. People are not just mouths to feed, but they're brains and their hands, and we need them. So we need to figure out how to get the balance right, but we have an opportunity right now, both on compassionate and humanitarian grounds, to help people get out of the worst aspects of Trump's America and to take advantage of the economic benefits for Canada in accepting a lot of skilled professionals and scientists and entrepreneurs, and I mentioned healthcare workers. We need to welcome we need to roll out the red carpet and figure out how to create different paths of entry into Canada for the people we really need.
Thank you very kindly. Now the last question is, when we look at the internationally most democratic and advanced countries where the voting system is a little bit different what our system is, or combination of two systems. In Canada, the first post kind of election, which is past election, first post past election. What do you think? Justin Trudeau in 2015, he wanted to do the reforms in election system. Do you believe in this, the way what candidates is elected and most of the voters are ignored or their vote is, doesn't count towards? What would you say about that?
Well, it's such an interesting election, isn't it? Usually, with it first past the post, not every vote counts. On the other hand, in this election, it was a one vote difference in Terrebonne, or in Windsor Tecumseh, they just counted again, and something like 12 vote difference. There's some seats that are by 4 votes, so clearly every vote counts. But because of first past the post, the reality is in those ridings where one vote made the difference, everybody else didn't count at all. I mean, it's a terrible system. So we need to reform our voting system to make sure that it better reflects the will of the voter in making sure that the parliament we elect looks like the way Canadian voters actually voted.
I'll explain to my listeners little later on what is first past the post, and most of these advanced countries they have a combination of two systems, or the first preference, second preference. So Justin Trudeau in 2015 he wanted to have these reforms, and then he wanted different parties stance on that. Why he couldn't do the reforms on this?
He could have, he just didn't want to. The Liberal Party would in the end have benefited from fair voting. And I think it's a shocking thing that he made a promise. It was the worst he broke a few promises, but that was the worst, just egregious, promising over and over again, and then deciding quite capriciously that his promise didn't mean anything. So we do need to have fair voting. Countries around, most democracies have systems of voting where every vote does count, where you elect a parliament that looks like the way the public actually voted, whether you're looking at the voting systems of Germany or New Zealand or, the Scandinavian countries. Most democracies around the world have fair voting. Unfortunately, Canada isn't one of them, so I'll keep working on that once Parliament resumes.
I hope so. Do you think in this government, although this government is not going to complete, as there are assumptions or analysis out there, they might not complete 4 years of their period. Do you think Prime Minister Carney and his cabinet is going to consider to change or reform the voting system?
I certainly hope to. I'll be working very hard on persuading them, and I hope that we'll be able to make that difference.
Thank you very kindly, and you are more than welcome to come more often at the platform, just to convey your point of view and have a direct relation with the community and make them understand what makes Green Party different and how it can represent ordinary people more than anybody else.
Well, I appreciate that chance to have the conversation. Again, I believe very much in the role of a member of Parliament. Anyone in Canadian political life is there to be of service to the people of this country, and the community, the South Asian community, is a huge and important part of Canada. So I love the opportunity to speak more directly with you and more often, and thank you.
Thank you very much. One question on a lighter mood. I wish you could have won 2 or 3 seats, and I wish Mr. Jonathan would have won, because then Mr. Carney needs only 2 people. Last time Prime Minister Trudeau was saved by the NDP. This time you could have saved them to complete their 4 years.
Well, we may be indeed in that position of balance of power. Only one, of course, of all the Liberal MPs is likely one of them will be Speaker of the House. So that's one less vote for them on critical votes.
Oh.
If they have another MP who is unable to vote for one reason or another, it could easily be the case that they need to come to just me to say, without your vote, the government will fall. That's a moment when you wouldn't be surprised.
How do you feel? How do you feel? You're very important then.
Yes. Well, it can happen easily. The Australian Greens, one time the Australian Greens had 1 seat,
Yeah.
And that was the balance of power, and it changed who was the prime minister. So it's a Westminster parliamentary democracy system. One vote counts, every seat counts, and I'll always do what I think is best for the country as a whole, and never what's best for just me or my party, because it's a position of service, and one has to always remember the duty to work for the benefit of the common good, for the benefit of all. And it's an amazing honor to be in a position where you can be of service to so many people and work as hard as you can for everyone.
Thank you very kindly. I have with me Federal Green Party leader Elizabeth May. I thank you very kindly for your time and look forward talking to you again and again.
Thank you so very much.
God bless.
Have a great weekend. God bless. Bye-bye.
God bless you.